Welcome back to another episode of Valuable Coins, where we dive deep into the world of numismatics, uncovering the most valuable and unique coins in the market today. If you're a coin enthusiast, collector, or simply interested in the incredible value of rare coins, you're in the right place. In today's video, we will explore two of the most fascinating and expensive United States coins currently circulating the auction market. Hey everyone, in this video, we'll uncover the most valuable Abraham Lincoln wheat penny you should be on the lookout for. We'll break down what makes these Lincoln wheat pennies so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. First up, the 1952 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, featuring the large date D mint mark and currently in fully damaged condition with some scratches. Even though it's not in top shape, it still holds historical value and collector interest. Let's begin by stepping back in time to understand what makes this coin noteworthy. The 1952 Lincoln wheat penny was produced during a period of post-war economic growth in the United States. America was in the midst of the baby boom. The Korean War was ongoing, and the country was becoming a major industrial power. Everyday items, including coins like this one, were in constant circulation and saw heavy use by Americans in their daily lives. The Lincoln cent, first issued in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real person. The design was created by Victor David Brenner and has become iconic in U.S. coinage history. On the front or obverse, you'll find Lincoln's portrait, the word Liberty, the year 1952, and, in this case, a D mint mark under the date, indicating the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse side, you'll see two wheat ears flanking the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the motto E pluribus unum. This reverse design was used from 1909 to 1958, and is what gives these coins the nickname wheat pennies. In 1952, the Denver Mint produced over 746 million Lincoln wheat pennies, making this issue relatively common in terms of mintage. These coins were struck in 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, like most pre-1982 Lincoln cents, which gives them a characteristic reddish-brown tone when in good condition. However, over decades of circulation, many of these pennies have changed. Color developed patinas, or suffered damage, as is the case with the one we're discussing today. You mentioned that this one, 952D wheat penny, is in full damage condition with some scratches. This typically means the coin has been heavily worn down from circulation or exposure to harsh environments. It may have lost most or all of its fine details, such as the texture of Lincoln's hair, the lettering, or the wheat lines on the reverse. In some cases, the coin might also have surface corrosion, dents, bends, or environmental discoloration. Scratches further affect the coin's aesthetic appeal and value, although they also tell us that this coin has passed through countless hands over many decades. From a collector's standpoint, condition is a major factor in determining a coin's value. While mint-state examples with full original color and no wear can be worth several dollars, coins in fully damaged condition are typically valued at or near face value, which in this case is 1 cent. However, due to the historical interest and copper content, even low-grade wheat pennies like this one may fetch 2 to 5 cents. If sold in bulk or to beginner collectors, it's important to note that some people attempt to clean damaged coins to improve their appearance. However, cleaning often does more harm than good. It can remove what little original surface is left and decrease the coin's desirability to collectors. Even in damaged condition, an uncleaned coin is more authentic and appealing to many in the hobby. So, what makes this 1952D wheat penny still worth discussing? The answer lies in its story. This coin has witnessed over 70 years of American history. From the early Cold War years to the Civil Rights Movement, the space race, and Into the digital age, it has survived countless changes in society, economy, and technology. Every scratch and dent could represent a chapter in its journey. A reminder that coins are not just money, but tangible pieces of the past. Many collectors begin their journey by finding coins like this in pocket change, in inherited collections, or at flea markets. Even a coin in damaged condition can spark interest, curiosity, and a love for history. Plus, assembling a full year and mint mark set of Lincoln wheat pennies, even in lower grades, can be a fun and educational challenge. The 1992 Washington quarter dollar is a coin that often goes unnoticed in circulation. But today we are going to take a closer look at a specific example that stands out for a few unique reasons. This one has a large date, a D mint mark, a deep black color shade, and it is, unfortunately, in bad condition. Even though it may not look like much at first glance, it still has a story to tell. Let's start by talking about what this coin is and where it comes from. The Washington Quarter Series began in 1932 as a way to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Washington designed by John Flanagan, while the reverse features a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings. This design remained on the quarter until the late 1990s, when the state quarters program took over in 1999. In 1992, U.S. Mint struck quarters at several locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver minted coins carry the D mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. Most of the 1992 D quarters you find in everyday change are made of copper-nickel-clad metal, which means they are not silver. However, silver versions were produced that year as part of special proof sets for collectors. If your 1992 D quarter happens to be silver, it did not come from regular circulation, but from one of these collector sets. One of the small but interesting details about this coin is the large date variety. This simply means that the numbers of the date 1992 are slightly larger and bolder than the more standard design. This is not an error that adds huge value, but it is still a feature collectors like to note. It can give the coin a slightly different appearance, especially when viewed next to a normal strike. Now, the black color shade on this coin is what catches most people's attention first. This is not a factory feature or a mint error. Instead, it is the result of environmental damage, heavy tarnish, or chemical reaction over time. Coins stored in damp places, exposed to water, buried in the ground, or even exposed to certain cleaning agents can develop this kind of dark tone. While some collectors appreciate naturally toned coins, the uneven and harsh darkening that comes from damage usually reduces the appeal. When we say the coin is in bad condition, we mean that much of the original mint luster is gone. Many of the fine design details are worn down, and the surfaces have been discolored or corroded. In numismatics, condition is everything and heavy. Wear or environmental damage can significantly lower a coin's value. The reality is that a 1992 D Washington quarter in bad condition is extremely common. Millions were minted, and finding one like this is not rare. If it is made from the standard copper-nickel-clad metal, its market value today is just its face value, 25 cents. On the other hand, if it is one of the silver-proof coins, even in bad condition, it will have some value due to its silver content alone. The silver version contains 90% silver and weighs about 6.25 grams. In today's silver market, that makes it worth around $4 to $5 just for the metal, regardless of its condition. To figure out whether your coin is silver or clad, you can check the edge of the coin. A silver quarter will have a solid silver color along the edge, while a clad coin will show a copper-colored core sandwiched between the outer layers. Weighing the coin can also help silver quarters weigh a bit more than clad quarters. Even though this coin in bad condition is not going to make you rich, it still has value as a piece of American history. Every coin has traveled through many hands and witnessed countless small moments in daily life. The fact that this one has survived since 1992, despite being heavily worn and discolored, means it has had quite a journey. In the end, the value of this 1992 large-date D Mint Mark Washington quarter in a black shade and bad condition depends entirely on whether it is silver or clad. If it is clad, you can spend it for a soda. If it is silver, you can sell it for a few dollars based on silver melt value. While this particular example might not be the most valuable coin out there, it can still serve as a reminder to always check your change. You never know when you might come across a rare variety, an error coin, or even a piece made of silver. Coin collecting is not just about finding valuable pieces. It's also about learning the stories behind them. This 1992 quarter might be worn and damaged, but it still connects us to the history of U.S. coinage and the tradition of honoring George Washington on the quarter dollar. For collectors, even coins like this can hold interest, because every coin has a place in the bigger picture of American money. Next up, the 1924 Lincoln Wheat Penny, with a large date, no mint mark, in a black color shade. Good condition, and with some scratches. This coin is nearly a century old, and it has a story worth telling. The Lincoln Cent series began in 1909. To commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. The obverse of this penny features Lincoln's portrait, while the reverse, used from 1909 to 1958, features two stylized wheat ears. Flanking the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the motto E pluribus, E1 Num, now let us focus on the 1924 wheat penny, which was struck at the Philadelphia Mint as indicated by the absence of a mint mark. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 75 million of these pennies, making this coin relatively common in circulated condition but still very desirable to collectors due to its age. This specific coin has a large date, a detail that's typical for the year. Large date varieties are more visible and bolder in appearance, making the coin slightly more attractive to collectors who prefer easy-to-read dates on older coins. The black color shade mentioned is quite common on coins that have undergone environmental exposure. Over time, copper oxidizes and darkens, especially if the coin has been in damp, acidic, or soiled conditions. This black tone is often a result of natural toning or aging, but it can also come from being buried, stored in poor conditions, or even exposed to fire or chemicals. While not considered a positive feature for grading, it does add a unique character to the coin. In terms of condition, you noted that it's in good condition with some scratches. In coin grading, good condition usually means the coin has seen significant circulation. The design and date are still visible, but much of the finer detail is worn smooth. For wheat pennies, this often means Lincoln's features are flat. The wheat ears on the reverse are worn down, and the edges of the lettering are weak. Scratches further lower the eye appeal. But since this is a 1924 issue, even worn examples still attract collector interest. So what's the value of a 1924 Lincoln Wheat Penny in this condition in today's market? While higher grade, uncirculated coins can fetch anywhere from $20 to over $100. A good condition 1924 penny without a mint mark, especially one with a black color shade and scratches, is generally worth between 25 cents and $1 on today's market. It may be closer to the higher end of that range if it's structurally intact and has clear date and lettering. Despite the color and wear, collectors looking to complete their Lincoln penny sets often seek out coins like this one. Even though the value is modest, every early date penny helps tell the complete story of this historic series. And while its condition might prevent it from being a centerpiece of a high-end collection, it remains a valuable learning tool and a great piece for beginner collectors. An interesting note about key Lincoln pennies from the early 1920s is that the U.S. Mint was still dealing with the aftereffects of World War I and the economic changes that followed. While production numbers in 1924 were relatively high, coins from this decade often show inconsistent quality due to worn dies and aging. Equipment that adds to their historical character and appeal. As always, if you're considering selling a coin like this, be cautious of cleaning it. Many collectors make the mistake of trying to restore a coin's shine, especially when it appears dark or blackened. However, cleaning almost always reduces a coin's value because it can damage the surface and remove its natural patina. It's always best to leave older coins in their original state. Next up, the 1988 Washington Quarter. Dollar with D Mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint and is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series that began in 1932. This particular coin is described as being in dirty condition with some scratches, which means it has seen plenty of circulation and use over the decades. While the description mentions it as a silver coin, it's important to clarify that quarters produced for circulation in 1988 were made from a copper-nickel clad composition. It's not silver. The only 90% silver quarters from this era are special. Collector's proof strikes, typically made at the San Francisco Mint with an S Mint mark. That means if your 1988D coin is truly silver, it would either be a special minting error or an unusual planchette mix-up, which could make it far more valuable than a standard quarter. The Washington Quarter design in 1988 still featured John Flanagan's portrait of George Washington on the obverse, with the inscriptions Liberty above his head and In God We Trust to the left. The date 1988 sits below the bust, with the D Mint mark positioned just to the right of the ribbon in Washington's hair. The reverse carries the classic heraldic eagle, wings outspread, clutching arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing both strength and peace. This design was the workhorse of U.S. coinage for decades, until it was replaced by the state quarters program in 1999. By 1988, quarters were made with a copper core clad in a layer of copper-nickel alloy, giving them their silver-like color, without containing any actual silver for circulation strikes. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters that year, making the 1988D a common date in the series. In general, unless a coin from this year has a significant minting error, is a high-grade uncirculated example, or is a silver proof, it will not command a high premium in the current collector's market. Your coin is noted to be in dirty condition with some scratches. This level of wear indicates that it has circulated widely, picking up marks from contact with other coins, pockets, cash registers, and years of handling. Dirt and discoloration are common in coins that have been in circulation for decades. And while they don't necessarily destroy the coin's historical appeal, they do lower its numismatic value compared to cleaner, higher-grade examples. Some collectors prefer not to clean coins, as improper cleaning can cause permanent damage and further reduce value today. If your 1988D Washington Quarter is the standard copper-nickel version in dirty, scratched condition, its worth is generally just its face, valued 25 cents. However, if it truly is a silver coin, you should verify it by weighing it or having it examined by a coin dealer or professional grading service. A genuine 90% silver quarter from 1988, if such an error exists, would be worth at least its melt value, which could be in the range of $4 to $5 based on silver prices, and possibly more if it's a verified mint error. Even if it turns out to be a regular clad quarter, coins like this still have a story to tell. They've traveled through countless hands, possibly across states, and have been part of everyday commerce for decades. While the numismatic premium may be low, it's still a piece of American history worth noting. Some collectors keep circulated coins from specific years and mints as part of a complete set, and others enjoy hunting for varieties, doubled dies, or other small quirks in coins from common years. Next up, the 1947 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny. This particular coin features a large date, no mint mark, and is in extra fine condition, though it has some scratches. Let's explore its background, design, rarity, and current market value. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first introduced in 1909, was designed by Victor David Brenner and has become one of the most widely collected coins in American numismatic history. The obverse of the coin features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse displays two stylized wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This reverse design lasted until 1958, making the wheat penny a collectible staple for nearly 5 decades. Now let's dive into the year 1947. This penny was minted at a time when the United States was recovering from World War II. During this period, the U.S. Mint returned to using copper for cents after briefly switching to steel in 1943 to conserve copper for the war effort. The 1947 penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, and it weighs about 3.11 grams. There is no mint mark on this particular coin, which means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the main minting facility in the country at the time, over 190 million. 1947 Lincoln pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which means this coin is not considered rare in general. However, the condition, appearance, and specific traits of your coin make it an interesting one to examine closely. You described your 1947 Lincoln penny as having a large date. This detail refers to the size and prominence of the numbers in the date, and while not officially categorized as a variety by the Mint, many collectors still appreciate the bold appearance of a large date coin. It makes the date easier to read and gives the coin a slightly more attractive presentation in a collection. The extra fine condition of your coin is also a key factor in its value. In numismatic grading, extra fine generally means the coin has seen some circulation but still retains sharp detail. For a wheat penny, this means that Lincoln's hair and coat show minor wear, the lettering is crisp, and the wheat stalks, on the reverse side, remain well defined. A coin in extra fine condition has far more visual appeal than one that is merely good or fine, and it typically commands a higher price in the market. That said, you also noted some scratches on the surface. Scratches, especially if they're deep or in prominent areas, can reduce the overall eye appeal and slightly lower the coin's value. However, light surface scratches are fairly common in circulated coins and are generally accepted by collectors, especially when the rest of the coin is in strong condition. As of today's market, a 1947 Lincoln penny with no mint mark in extra fine condition typically sells for around 25 cents to 50 cents. If the scratches are minimal and the coin retains its original detail and color, it might even sell for closer to $1. Especially if listed on a popular auction platform like eBay, where collectors are often looking to complete their sets with nicely preserved examples. While this coin may not fetch a high dollar amount, its value lies in its age, condition, and appeal to wheat penny enthusiasts. This coin is an excellent piece for someone building a year-by-year Lincoln cent collection. For collectors who aim to gather pennies from every year and mint mark, a 1947 Philadelphia wheat penny in extra fine condition is a solid addition. Never attempt to clean or polish your coin, even if it has scratches or minor discoloration. Cleaning a coin can permanently damage its surface and significantly lower its value. Collectors prefer coins in their original, unaltered condition. Next up, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar is a coin that many people still come across in circulation today. But this particular one has some features that make it interesting to examine. It is a small date variety, minted in Philadelphia, as indicated by the P mint mark, in fine condition, with some scratches present. While it might not be a rare treasure worth thousands of dollars, it is still worth understanding its background, composition, and market value in today's coin world. The Washington Quarter Series began in 1932. It's a tribute to the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse features the profile of Washington, while the reverse showcases a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches. This design remained unchanged until the State Quarters program began in 1999. In 1980, quarters were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint used the P Mint mark on its quarters starting that very year, making 1980 the first year a P appeared on Washington quarter struck there for circulation. Now, about the small date detail, this refers to a subtle difference in the size and style of the numerals in the date. While not officially recognized as a major variety by the U.S. Mint, small date and large date coins are often noticed by collectors. The difference is generally most visible in the shape and thickness of the numbers, particularly the 1 and 9 in 1980. For many collectors, identifying and keeping these varieties can add an extra layer of enjoyment to the hobby, even if the difference in value is minimal. One important thing to note is that despite the silver in your description, the standard 1980 Washington quarter minted for circulation is made of a copper-nickel clad composition, not silver. The only silver quarters from that era are special strikes produced for collectors, mainly in proof form, containing 90% silver. These silver proofs were not intended for circulation and usually come from San Francisco with an S Mint mark. If your coin is indeed silver, would be an unusual find for a 1980 Philadelphia quarter and would need to be tested or weighed to confirm. A clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, while a 90% silver quarter weighs around 6.25 grams. Your coin is described as being in fine condition, which means it has moderate wear over the high points of the design, but the major details are still clear and visible. Fine condition is right in the middle of the grading scale. It's not pristine, but it's also far from the worst state a coin can be in. The presence of scratches is important to note because while normal circulation wear is expected, deep or noticeable scratches can lower collector appeal and market value. In the coin world, even small imperfections can make a difference, especially when collectors are looking for examples in better shape. So what is a 1980p Washington quarter in fine condition with some scratches worth in today's market? If it is the standard copper-nickel clad version, its value is usually just its face value of 25 cents. Millions upon millions of these coins were minted, and they are still very common in everyday change. However, if the coin turns out to be one of the rare silver strikes or an unusual mint error, its value could be significantly higher. A genuine silver quarter would be worth at least $4 to $5 based on the silver content alone, and potentially more depending on collector demand. For most collectors, a coin like this holds more historical and sentimental value than monetary value. It represents a piece of American history from the early 1980s, a time before state designs took over the quarter, and a year that marked the start of the P Mint mark tradition in Philadelphia coinage. While scratches and moderate wear prevent it from being a high-grade collectible, it still tells a story about its decades of use in commerce, even if you can't sell it for a high price. It's always worth checking your coins carefully. Many rare and valuable coins have been found by people simply paying attention to the small details, whether that's a mint mark, a date variety, or a unique error. This 1980p small date Washington quarter may not make you rich, but it's pre-deserves. May it's pre-deserve. It's pre-deserve and exserve. May it pre. It's pre-made pre-sectus quad, be as av. You said pre-exord, kiweed. Pre-deserved, we are wally made. I can arc, pre-made as. Why realize. Still an interesting piece to keep, especially if you enjoy collecting and learning about American coins. Over time, Next up, the 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, featuring a large date and currently in dirty condition with some scratches. Represents a piece of everyday history that continues to capture the interest of coin collectors across the United States and beyond. Minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally did not use a mint mark. This penny was struck during a time when the wheat reverse design was nearing the end of its run, making coins from the mid-1950s, like this one, both common and collectible. Despite its condition, this coin still holds interest because it marks a period when the U.S. Mint was producing coins in massive quantities to meet post-war economic demand. The Lincoln Cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than allegorical figures. The design by Victor David Brenner was simple yet powerful. On the obverse is a bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, along with the words "In God We Trust" above his head, liberty to the left, and the date 1956 to the right. The reverse side features two stylized wheat ears that give the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny, framing the inscriptions 1 cent, United States of America, and E pluribus unum. In 1956, over 420 million of these Lincoln cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Due to the high mintage, the 1956 penny is not considered rare, and large numbers are still found in circulation or coin collections. However, condition plays a crucial role in determining value. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition will be worth significantly more than a heavily worn or damaged example. Since the coin in question is in dirty condition with some scratches, it falls into the category of a circulated coin with wear, possibly grading somewhere between good and fine. This lowers its market value, but doesn't eliminate its appeal to new collectors, educators, or individuals assembling complete date and mint mark sets. Collectors generally advise against cleaning old coins, even if they appear dirty. Cleaning can diminish a coin's appeal and value, particularly if done with harsh chemicals or abrasives. Natural toning and signs of age are often preferred over artificially bright surfaces. The scratches present on this coin, combined with the overall dirtiness, suggest it has been handled extensively or stored in poor conditions over time. Nevertheless, it still serves as a piece of mid-20th century American history, representing the final years of a design that was eventually replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. The actual monetary value of a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny in this condition tends to be modest. In today's coin market, a circulated example with scratches and dirt might be worth between 5 and 15 cents, slightly more than its face value. This value reflects both its collectability and the reality that it is a common coin. Coins in extra fine or uncirculated condition can reach values of 25 cents to $2, and those in high mint state grades with red coloring and no blemishes may fetch even higher prices, especially if certified by a grading service. But for coins in heavily circulated or damaged condition, the appeal is more historical or sentimental than monetary, despite its low market value. The 1956 Lincoln penny still carries educational and cultural significance. It's a popular coin for beginning collectors, school coin clubs, and people who enjoy metal detecting or coin roll hunting. The fact that such an old coin can still be found in circulation today highlights its durability and the enormous number of coins produced during that era. Many collectors find satisfaction in owning a complete run of wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958, and the 1956 no mint mark version is an important part of that set. Additionally, there are some varieties in 1956 pennies that can attract attention, such as double die errors or unique planchette flaws, although these are rare. Any coin suspected of being a variety should be carefully examined. possibly with a magnifying glass or digital microscope, and compared to known reference images. While your described coin does not appear to fall into the category of a rare error or variety, its date, design, and age still make it a conversation piece. In conclusion, while this particular 1956 large-date Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark in dirty and scratched condition does not carry significant monetary value, it remains a cherished and symbolic item. It is a link to a bygone era of American coinage, produced during the height of post-World War II optimism and industry. Whether kept as part of a collection, sold to a beginner collector, or passed down as a piece of family history, it serves as a small but meaningful artifact of everyday life in 1950s America. Next up, the 1990 USA Washington Quarter dollar with a large date and a D-Mint mark was produced at the Denver Mint and is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series that began in 1932, while the description calls it a silver coin. It's important to note that quarters minted for circulation in 1990 were made of copper nickel clad. The only 90% silver quarters from that year were special collector-proof issues, struck at the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark. If your 1990D is indeed struck on a silver planchette, it would be considered an unusual and potentially valuable minting error. The obverse of the coin carries the familiar design by John Flanagan, with a left-facing portrait of George Washington. Above his head is the word Liberty, while the motto "In God We Trust" appears to the left. The date 1990 is displayed at the bottom, and the D-Mint mark, signifying the Denver Mint, is found just to the right of the ribbon in Washington's hair. On the reverse, you'll find the heraldic eagle design, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, representing both American strength and a desire for peace. This classic reverse was used until 1998, when the state quarters program began. Your coin is described as being in uncirculated condition, meaning it has not been used in regular transactions and still holds much of its original mint luster. However, the note of some scratches indicates that despite its uncirculated status, the coin has experienced some handling or storage marks, possibly from contact with other coins or improper storage. While these surface marks may reduce its grade slightly, the coin would still be far more appealing to collectors than a circulated example from the same year. For a standard copper-nickel-clad 1990D quarter in uncirculated condition with minor scratches, the market value typically ranges from $1 to $3, depending on the buyer and exact condition. Collectors often seek coins with sharp details, minimal contact marks, and strong mint luster. However, if the coin is confirmed to be made of silver either from an off-metal strike or a minting error, it could carry a much higher value. The silver content alone would be worth $4 to $5 at current silver prices. And as a rare era coin, it could sell for anywhere from $50 to several $100s at auction, depending on demand and authentication. To confirm whether your coin is silver, it should be weighed. Standard copper-nickel-clad quarters weigh about 5.67 grams, while silver quarters weigh around 6.25 grams. A professional coin dealer or grading service could verify the composition, assess the grade, and provide an accurate market valuation. Even if the coin turns out to be the regular copper-nickel issue, its uncirculated condition, Denver Mint origin, and the fact that it is over 3 decades old make it a collectible piece, especially for those building complete mint sets from the 1990s. Proper storage in a coin holder or protective case will help preserve its appearance and prevent further scratches. Next up, the 1951 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny with a large date and a D-Mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint, is a piece of American coinage history. Although it is not considered a rare coin, it still holds numismatic interest for collectors and enthusiasts, especially those aiming to complete a full Lincoln wheat cent set from 1909 to 1958. This particular coin, being in black color shade with a dirty surface and some scratches, suggests that it has been well circulated and likely exposed to various environmental conditions over the decades. The obverse of the 1951 D penny features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which has appeared on the cent since 1909, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The inscriptions "In God We Trust" appear above Lincoln's head, Liberty to his left, and the year 1951 to the right, with the small D mint mark just below the date. The reverse showcases two wheat ears curving along the left and right borders, enclosing the phrases 1 cent, United States of America, and E pluribus unum at the top. This wheatback design is classic and beloved among collectors. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint struck a very large number of 1951D pennies, over 625 million, making it one of the most common wheat cents of the decade. This high production volume means that 1951D pennies are relatively easy to find, especially in circulated condition. However, specific varieties such as repunched mint marks RPM can be more sought after and are usually worth inspecting more closely if such errors are present. Given the coin's current black tone, dirty condition, and presence of scratches, it is categorized as a circulated coin, most likely falling somewhere between good to fine grade. The blackish appearance typically results from environmental exposure, such as prolonged contact with moisture, acidic materials, or simply being buried or stored improperly. Copper, the metal used in this penny, naturally oxidizes over time and can turn dark or develop uneven tones, while some collectors appreciate naturally toned coins. Dark discoloration and grime generally lower the coin's desirability in the marketplace, particularly if the details of Lincoln's portrait or the wheat design are obscured in terms of market value. The 1951D Lincoln wheat penny in this worn state is relatively modest. Today's market prices for this coin in such condition range from about 5 cents to $0.15. These prices may vary slightly depending on whether the coin is being sold individually or as part of a bulk lot. Well-preserved, uncirculated examples, especially those with original red luster and no damage, can fetch higher prices anywhere from $1 to $5 or more. Depending on the grade, it's important to note that cleaning the coin is strongly discouraged, even if it appears dirty or dark. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and remove any remaining original mint luster, significantly decreasing its numismatic value. Serious collectors prefer coins in original, unaltered condition even if they're dirty or worn. Despite its low monetary value, this coin still carries historical and collectible significance. Minted during the post-World War II era, it represents a time when the United States was entering a period of growth and prosperity. Coins like this one were part of everyday American life, used for streetcar fares, candy, soda, and other small purchases. Holding a 1951 DPE offers a small DHAGO but tangible link to that time period. Many collectors who start building Lincoln cent collections find common dates, like the 1951D, to be important stepping stones toward assembling a complete set. It teaches beginners about grading, mint marks, and conditional while providing a direct connection to American history. For educational purposes, even lower-grade coins such as this one can be helpful in classrooms or hobbyist discussions. In summary, the 1951D Lincoln wheat penny with a large date, in black color shade, dirty condition, and with some scratches, may not be a valuable treasure in terms of dollars, but it still plays a meaningful role in numismatics. It stands as a testament to the enduring legacy of the Lincoln Cent series and continues to be a part of countless collectors' journeys into the rich and fascinating world of coin collecting, Next up, the 1967 USA Washington quarter dollar is an interesting piece from a transitional period in U.S. coinage history. Although it is often called silver by some, the reality is that by 1967, circulating Washington quarters were no longer made of 90% silver. The United States Mint removed silver from the quarter after 1964, switching to a copper-nickel-clad composition to reduce costs. This means your 1967 quarter is most likely copper-nickel clad, unless it's a rare mint error struck on a leftover. Silver planchette from 1964, which would make it significantly more valuable in 1967. The mint was working to eliminate coin shortages caused by silver hoarding. To speed up production, no mint marks were used on any coins that year. So your quarter, having no mint mark, is perfectly normal. It was struck at either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint, but without a mint mark. There's no way to tell where it came from. The obverse of the coin shows the familiar John Flanagan portrait of George Washington facing left. Above his head is the word liberty, and to the left, the motto, "In God We Trust." The date 1967 appears at the bottom in a bold, large date style. On the reverse, you'll find the heraldic eagle design. Wings spread proudly, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing America's readiness for both defense and peace. You've described your coin as being in fine condition with some scratches. In numismatic grading, fine means moderate wear on the high points of the design, but most of the major details are still visible. The scratches likely come from circulation and handling over its more than 5 decades of life. While these marks lower its potential grade and appeal to high-end collectors, it still holds value as a vintage piece of U.S. coinage. In today's market, a regular copper-nickel 1967 Washington quarter in fine condition generally has a value close to its face value, about 25 cents, although collectors may pay between 50 cents and $1 for a nice example to fill a date slot in their collection. However, if this quarter is found to be one of the rare silver planchette errors, the value could rise dramatically. These error coins can sell for $50 to $300 or more, depending on condition and verification by a grading service. To check for silver content, you can weigh the coin. A copper-nickel-clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, while a 90% silver quarter weighs around 6.25 grams. Another sign is the edge of the coin. Clad quarters have a visible copper-colored stripe, while silver quarters have a solid silver edge. Even if your 1967 quarter turns out to be the standard clad version, it's still a fascinating part of coinage history. It represents a time when the mint was making big changes in production methods and metal composition. And it's one of the few years in modern U.S. history where no mint marks appeared on any coins. Proper storage in a coin holder can prevent more scratches and preserve its details for years to come.